Hello, YouTube. I am Shaggy. I am Philalitheia, and I am walking home from another night of playing 7 Days to Die in Taco Bell. Walking back to the tent, where I will subsequently set up my laptop and my battery bank and get comfortable and play another couple of hours of 7 Days to Die. Aren't I so lucky that I have organized my life and my expenses so I can do that? Sort of. Anyway, I've got to where I can walk around in the burnt forest biome without any trouble, except for during storms. But nobody can walk around the burnt forest biome during storms, and so that's where I'm at. I'm building a base and a graveyard in 7 Days to Die because there's a bunch of existing cobblestone and structure that I don't have to reinforce or think about as I build, and it's built in such a way that they're unlikely to actually collapse it. They're unlikely to even try, but if they try, I have a backup plan, and if they succeed, I have a backup plan. And the backup plan is not to get in my gyrocopter and circle the world. The gyrocopter is difficult to control. Hey, it's E-Rex, what's up? How we doing? I have a plan. I'm sure that everybody does a horde base out of this spot. I'm sure there are a few spots that they design hoping that people will use them as horde bases, but maybe they don't. I don't know. I know that I got to make some S&G turrets, and I gotta really ramp up my bullet production. I don't know if that means actually I do know what that means. It means not doing missions for a while. It means going and hitting every lead mine that I can find and just grinding up several days of game time on resource gathering. Like, it might even mean like just playing a couple days of the game where the days are 48 hours instead of 24 hours. My evening was great, T-Rex. That's what I've been talking about. Now I kind of don't mind if I were to run into a situation where I hit a horde night where I was resource depleted as far as my turrets, because I'm such a fucking beast in melee. If I were to get overrun and have 20 zombies on me, it would just be fun. It would be stressful, but I'm good enough now that it would just be fun. So that's probably what I'm going to go do tonight. I'm probably going to go find a lead mine and dig straight down in it and then core my way back up. The Sisyphus coat? No, I've never heard of them. I'm guessing they're winter gear. I might, T-Rex. I was thinking about it. We'll see how comfortable I can get. My body really hurts, like a lot. And adding the weight of my phone and having to hold my body at the angle so that the phone is balanced is extremely painful for me. But I might. If I don't, I wanted to touch in with you, with the members, with my regulars, so that you guys know that I'm still on the face of the planet. I spent the day talking with Gemini about research into medieval burial practices. But I don't really have anything going on in my head or in my heart. I'm just kind of trying to get to a place where I'm done with 7 days so I can go back to storytelling and these other games that I know very well. Well, I don't know Schedule 1 that well. So I can go back to learning and dicking around in Schedule 1. Because that does have an audience of people who want to see more of it. I'm going to do just that, T-Rex. I'm going to do what my best is. Come on, bleed me. Hello, Caius. Someone found a cauldron of ancient coins recently. That's fun. The caches of coins from the from any imperial disaster, any Roman disaster, but specifically the late Roman collapse, where people went and hid their gold so the barbarians wouldn't get it. Those are always fun. Biggie boogie bow. I'm glad I got to say hey to you guys tonight. Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. It'd be fun to find. It'd be fun to find something like that, especially in a totally serendipitous kind of way. And yes, I will get back to reading The Princes of Serendip. That was really just a romantic expression while I was feeling it. The intensity has passed, and this is what I do with things when I don't want them to end. Hey, Bob. James Brown used to bury a lot of his cash. That's funny to me. Solve the mystery of the money pit in Oak Island, T-Rex. A gold monkey, you'd never sell it? Heard that. Are you satisfied? That's funny that his relatives tried to find his gold or his cash stash. Where's your crown, King? Nothing. Boo-doo-da, boo-da-da. Okay, is believed to be a pirate treasure from the Age of Exploration in, I believe, well, Oak Island, but Newfoundland. It's a pit with evidence of human intelligent make. That back floods every time people get to a certain depth of the pit. And so people believe there's a treasure beneath the flooded water. They believe that there's an airtight chamber under the water that has a treasure in it from the Age of Exploration. Yeah, for sure, Tyrannus. People assign meaning to all kinds of things. Meaning and value is what I meant to say, worth. Wish I might have this wish I wish tonight. Hey, Gina, welcome. I want it all. Wish I might have this wish I wish tonight. I want that star. I want it now. I want it all, and I don't care how. Be careful what you wish. Be careful what you say. Careful what you wish you may regret it. Careful what you wish you just might get out. Thank you, Gina, and oh, happy birthday, Gina. 33. Where's your crown, King? Nothing. Happy birthday. That's what they say. No, you're just nothing. Where's your crown, King? Nothing. No, you're just nothing. Absolutely nothing. We're off to Never, Neverland. Because it's the same song. I thought that said 1889, and I was like, no, you didn't. You saw him in 89? That's cool. Back in the day, before the Black Album. Had James set himself on fire yet? That was in the 90s, right? You're old, but you're not 1889 old. Look, I just read the wrong number, okay? I didn't mean to call you that old. I just read 1889 and I was like, he's fucking with me. No, he didn't. Metallica aren't that old either. You were 17? That's awesome. Wow, now how old you are. You just birth dated yourself, my friend. 72. 3 years younger than my dad. It's hard to forget the year my dad was born. It's everybody's favorite 2-digit number. He's like, 75? No, 69, you dumbass. Oh, that's awesome, Bob. You and your band of brothers? Wow, dow, dow, wow, dow. I'm assuming you mean your band, like music band, not a high school band. Thank you for sharing, Great Wallaby. If you hadn't, I would have never learned. Oh, happy holidays to you too, Stoner. Poodle permed metalheads. Heard that. It was 1989. You're allowed to be poodle permed back then. My mom wore a poodle perm into the early aughts. Oh, that's awesome. You said you drove to North Carolina, and in North Carolina, no less. That's cool. That's awesome, Bob. I've gone many years of my life without a haircut as well. Okay, Hassan. A car pack thing? Kind of don't like Wendy's anymore, actually. I haven't been to a Wendy's in a while because the last few times I went, I was disappointed. It's very expensive for kind of mediocre burger. Rach is good, the last I heard. Gina, she's asleep right now. She had a stressful day. That's not why she's asleep right now. It's work day. At night. It's going great, Jamie. How are you? Really, T-Rex? That's interesting. She told you that you were going to have a great life in North Dakota and you just haven't made it there yet. Are you avoiding it, or is it just that's just how it's worked out? Heard that, Jamie. Get them chores done. Heck yeah. That's interesting. That's how it worked out. Life be like that sometimes. I don't know what a red cord is. I don't know what a red cord phenomenon is. I never heard that expression before. Hey, Poppy, what's up? How are you doing? Wouldn't it be cool if Zach Wild were in the live, and like you were watching live right now, heard me listening to that song, and was like, God damn, that's the best whistled rendition of any of my pieces of music I've ever heard. Probably a simple explanation. Yeah, I think I've decided that I'm not going to try to share this live because I'm itchy and uncomfortable. I won't be a fun host. I wanted to duck in. Hey, no, well, no, not campsite either. This is just my tent and my home, my living space. But no, I don't think I'm going to share because I don't think I feel like entertaining tonight. I think I feel like putting on the Neebs guys and listening to them game. Sorry. While I record this for posterity, I think that's what's gonna happen. Because I don't know. I'm itchy and uncomfortable. Yes, it is a nice headset. It was like $300. Like everything's just kind of pissing me off, and that means that if I try to game like this and entertain you, that the trolls are gonna get to me, and I'm gonna make minor mistakes that annoy the shit out of me. Like my clothes are heavy and weighing me down, which means that I'm overstimulated, and that I need to just take some time to myself to get comfortable and enjoy the night And yes, it is a very nice headset, very expensive professional headset. Oh, I plan to, Bob. Thank you for the well wishes. Not that I wouldn't enjoy spending time with you guys, but yeah, I'm already itchy and short-tempered. I legitimately just wanted to duck in, say hey, thank you guys for watching. I love you very much. Make sure you join the Patreon and the Discord for the meta conversation so you know where I am. You can ask me what's on my scheduling plate there, because I'm more likely to respond. But otherwise, I just wanted to duck in and say hi. Make sure that you guys are all good. Oh, thank you, Texas. Thank you for the contribution. Without you, we would never have had that contributed to our lives. I think I could have gone the rest of my life without it, but you know, here we are. Couldas, shouldas, and wouldas never did anything. Yeah, like this is annoying. And so looking over to you guys trying to read you, I'm gonna get in a progressively worse mood as the night goes along. And that's not what I want to put on camera. That's not the kind of person that I like being seen as. It is the person I am. It's just not the person I like being seen being. Like that this keeps like leaning forward at me is just, it's pissing me off. All right. right in here tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your support and your love. Hello, Glock. Thank you for your conversation. Thank you for checking in on me, Bob, T Rex, all of you. Um, I don't remember saying anything about thinking about what other people think, Texas. I don't remember worrying about what other people think or saying that I was worried about what other people think. Hello, Glock. Mm-hmm. That nowhere in that, Texas, did I say anything about what people think. I don't think about jetpacks, Mike. Are you coming on to me, Glock? Thank you, Jamie. It's very dirty. No thoughts, SOH. I worry about my image. I don't worry about my image. I don't have thoughts on tariffs. Other people warm my food, Daniel. Heard that, Tyrannus. Um, there are other ways to ask somebody's thoughts, Rob, but um, the YouTube live chat isn't a place to go to be interviewed well. I don't really think about other people's desires to know my thoughts. I don't believe that they want to know my thoughts. I'm not a scholar. Um, but I am a curious and interested person. What does it matter, Glock? Maybe. Scholars are usually educated, but I hear what you're saying. If you don't want the answer, why do I want to give it to you, Glock? Do you tend to speak other people's minds, Texas? How does one speak someone else's mind? Oh, Marco, I can't say that I do remember you. I'm the good. Well, what does that tell us, Texas Inspector? What do we learn from that feeling? Well, again, I'm not educated, and I can't be a scholar because I'm not educated. Um, but I am curious and I am broadly informed. I don't really care about current events, but the framework through which thank you, Tyrannus, the framework through which I view the world or my worldview uh, are predictive and consistent models. What do I predict as regards what? The outcome of America? I don't know. I don't know that America is a process. What's better, swimming or running? I never enjoyed running. Why does it matter where I am? Why do you feel that you need that information? How is it relevant to you? I'm sure I could, Daniel. Again, I don't know why it's relevant to you. Or what the benefit is to me in doing that. I don't know why that's a um, I don't know why that's a storytelling prompt that I want to take up again. I don't have any hobbies, no. I don't want a sandwich. I don't know what that means, Clock. I don't know who has time to do things just for fun. I don't don't know if you think I'm independently wealthy or what, but I don't know who has the time to just have fun. There's work to be done. Why does my story matter to you in the middle of this one, Daniel? When you watch a movie, do you stop the movie to ask the entire backstory of the characters in the movie? This is not America, Tricky. This is YouTube. Shoulda, coulda, and woulda never did anything, Glock. Hello, Pennsylvania. Stop everything you're doing right now, Pennsylvania, and tell us your life story. But give us the Reader's Digest version. We're busy people. I know, Tyrannus. They will invite me to do it someday. I don't apply for jobs. I don't think I'm similar to John Malkovich at all. You asked for the Reader's Digest version, which is for people too busy to read the full book. You keep moving, Pennsylvania. No, I don't want to play Among Us, Jack. It's not about contributions, Tricky. This space that we have gathered in is not the United States. It's YouTube. I'm assuming that's a good thing. D, thank you. Open up what, Daniel? Sure, Tricky, but you're not listening to what I'm saying. Europeans, it's not about who's made a contribution. It's about this isn't the United States. You are not currently in the United States. You are on YouTube. Probably you cannot, Glock. I'm not in the business of giving things away. Relative to your cognitive perspective, yeah, probably Jewish. You guys keep asking me for things for free and then calling me testy when I tell you no. If you walk into a gas station and ask them for their gasoline for free, are they going to be polite about it, or are they going to laugh in your face and say something testy? Just answered your question, Jewish. If you feel destroyed, again, relative to your cognitive perspective. What am I closed about, Daniel? Why do I want to connect with you, Daniel? And why do I want you connected to me? Probably you've never heard of leprous, Jewish. Daniel, do you think that I live stream to repeat myself every single day? And that doesn't answer the question of why I want you connected to me. Because they knew somebody would respond to it, Glock. Okay, well, what feelings do I need to get out, Captain? Why would I want to do that, Jewish? I mean, you just did, Tricky. You just acknowledge the possibility. It's the same thing. Admitting something means to allow it past the gates of your mind. Why do I want to kill things, Glock? Might be, D. I don't know what that is, Jewish. Well, if you don't know why I would want to be connected to you, why do I want to put the effort into making a connection with you? And am I not streaming right now? And are you not entertained? Are you not engaged in the stream, Daniel? I'm speaking directly to you. I'm making the last several minutes about you. What exactly do you think I'm doing wrong? I mean, I've made $1.50. What do you think I'm doing wrong exactly? Exactly what do you think I'm doing wrong? Because you're backhanded criticizing me. You're not just telling me what you think I'm doing wrong and then telling me what you think I should do to be right. You're just telling me these backhanded compliments like, oh, you were hurt as a child. Oh, you're not actually good at this. Why should you do this? You're not responding to anything that I'm actually asking you. And then when I ask you, why do I want to be connected to you? Why do I want to open up that pathway so you can come into my life? You say, I don't know. Why do I want that? You go, I don't know. Okay, well then I don't want it. You came up, if you were to come up to me with a chili dog that has, I don't know, jalapenos on it and say, hey, do you want this chili dog with jalapenos on it? And I would say to you, why do I want that chili dog with jalapenos on it? You could say something like, I don't know, I bought it and I thought of you. Do you want it? And I might say, no, but I'll take it. So why do I want a connection with you specifically, Daniel? Like, do you not know why your friends are friends with you specifically, Daniel? Do you not know what specific benefit you provide to the people around you? Like, I know why you want a connection with me. Why do I want to reciprocate? Chili Dog didn't have anything to do with my lore. We weren't talking about my lore. I am a writer. Chili dogs do need love too. But if you can't articulate that, well, because I like you and I would like you to like me, then I'm never going to like you. You're just not smart enough. No, I know I'm smart, Jewish. I'm not giving you anything. Glock, I've been homeless for so long that anything hot that I didn't make is my favorite. No, I don't want to connect to people, Rob. I have a disorganized attachment style. I have no interest in connecting with any of you on any level. I'm here because you have an interest in connecting to me. I don't think I could do 4 push ups, Jewish. You're here, Captain. You're here and you're clamoring for my attention. Yes, you want a connection with me. No, you are assuming I want a connection with you because you said that I need to open up my life to the possibility of a connection with you. Hello, Mustang. Why would I humor what, Rob? The hot dog? Put chili. If you put chili and coleslaw, a little bit of mustard and relish on it, I would more than humor it. I don't know who that is, Danny. Why do I entertain it? Because there's an infinite amount of ad revenue in it for me, Rob. I'm homeless. I'm good at this. I have 15 years in hospitality and service in my background, and there is an infinite amount of money potentially available to me if I do it in the right way at the right times for the right length of time. Okay, Daniel. Well, when you think back about this at 3 o'clock in the morning after I block you, you'll figure it out. No, you're not, KSB. No, I wasn't in the military. Okay, independent. Except you're here telling me that, so evidently you yourself and you aren't good enough. You're sharing it with me. Evidently, I'm a better rage baiter than you, KSB. Well, my mom used to say it's only a joke if both parties think it's funny, independent. If you say so, Captain USA. I wouldn't say I'm a good man, Mustang, but thank you. I'm an extremely hard sell for the average person, Rob. I don't want the average people. I'm looking for exceptional people. I watch the sunset all the time, Gluck. Or maybe you could have just stopped asking me for what I told you I wasn't going to tell you for free. You hit that super chat and I'll give you what you pay for. You going to write Santa, T-Rex? What do you mean, Rob? You don't understand YouTube's monetization? Okay, well, can you define a rule, Tricky? If the exception proves the rule, then I'm looking for exceptional people. It's just what my hair looks like. Hello, Relinda. Thank you for that. Thank you, T Rex. What indeed makes a worthy man worthy, Turkey? If that's what you think, independent. Jokes are cheap in today's society. Heard that, Selena? Hey, Eric, what's up? Thank you, T Rex. Doing my best, Eric. I thought I wasn't going to have any attention for this, but it seems like I'm the happeningest thing in this corner of the internet. So thank you guys for that. I haven't even been looking at my analytics. That jokes are cheap. All right, sleep all, Glock. Aviation, I don't think you really know what you just said. I don't want the ad revenue, Rob. No, I didn't get any snacks tonight, T Rex. I ate a bunch of. I ate until I was full at Taco Bell. I ate until it started to smell bad and the experience of eating became unpleasant to me. So I'm good. No, King, I don't have a lot of it. I don't have any advice to make a lot of money. Yeah, Rob, you asked why I would entertain. You didn't ask why I'm doing it. You asked why I would entertain. The answer is because you never know who's a billionaire on the other side of that chat. And so if I entertain it with all of you and I treat all of you with the seriousness and the love and the compassion that all human beings deserve, I don't know which of you is going to have the gratitude for my doing that simple act of human kindness and elevate me from poverty with a gift. I don't know. You can't know. There are infinite billions of ad revenue dollars out there to be gained if you do this right. And I don't know who I'm going to run across. I keep saying that. You keep asking me the same. You guys are all asking me the same questions, and I am answering your questions consistently. There's an infinite amount of money out there to be made. I don't do anything for hobbyist reasons. And Eric is a mod because he's one of my closest friends. I have the skill set, and I'm not working for another corporation again in my life. I'll die first. Then don't value money, Tricky. Take care, Eric. I love you too, Eric. I don't want the money. I need the money. What I want is to leave a lasting impact in the world. In order for me to leave a lasting impact, I have to have more money than God. My father told me when I was a little boy that if you want to beat the man, you have to become the man. But the risk in becoming the man is that you might become the man. What's up, Atten? God needs a lot of money. Have you ever seen a cathedral? If, well, if you're here, Tricky, you're on your journey, pal. I have read for 48 Rules of Power Aviation. You need to not tell me what I need to do before you know whether I have or have not done the thing you think I need to have done. I read that 7 or 8 years ago. Thank you for the hilarious but profound. Yes, sir, Matthew. You thought, well, what do you think all knowing and all powerful mean? Have you ever seen a cathedral? I can't do push ups, aviation. I can't afford the calories. I can't afford the protein. And I am too injured. Mm hmm. T Rex? Yes. Or dead, Eric. I said, what's up, Atten? That wasn't the question, Wheel Throttle. You've come in the middle of a conversation and you're just non sequituring. I said, Atan. Not the question that I asked, independent. You can avoid the question, but have you ever seen a cathedral? I'm not confused. The first four letters of your name are Atan. So I said Atan. And if you didn't respond to that, put Kyle first. I don't think you asked anything, Wheel. I think you stated something. If I needed money, I would say I need money, aviation, but I never said I need money. Not some money. And if that was your takeaway, I would really just prefer you leave before I see you out. I haven't had to murder any of you as an example to the others in a while. It makes the children rowdy. I didn't say a church. I said a cathedral. Independent. You don't get to argue with me if you can't answer a basic question. I don't even think I was talking to you, Atan. I think I was talking to somebody else, but now I'm just going to shoot Atan right in the face, everybody. Watch. Now, aviation, the one that I said was going to get shot in the face, I was going to see out. He's been seen out too. So get your chittering and your freak out. Just get it out of the way. Yes, tell me how I'm a bad person. No, a cathedral and a church are not the same thing. If you don't know the difference in a cathedral and a church, you don't get to speak to me anymore. Please see yourself out, Independent AM, before I escort you out. You don't get to argue with me about God when you don't know the differences in basic architecture. Mm-hmm. God so loved you that he murdered his own son brutally in public. You don't think that I'm showing these people love and compassion by muting them before I say something hurtful about them? Yep, I know you don't, Independent. You're an asshole, and you're being an asshole. And there was only one rule. You're next, Wheel Throttle. So just mind the brake. And just so all of you know, this is permanent. I don't go back and undo these mutes. There's no point system. All of you are lucky that I've given you warnings. Go fuck yourself, Wheel. Hello, Freddy. Are you going to tell me that your name is DYT? For those of you who are unfamiliar with terrestrial radio, I'm giving all of you that come in that I greet reasons to watch the whole show. I'm not going to back up and explain that joke to Freddy, but everybody who's watched the show up to this point will have chuckled. Sure, Selena, the question was whether he'd ever seen one. The follow-up question is if he can imagine how much those cost in man-hours, just man-hours alone. Because he said God has no need of money. And he goes, but I thought God was all-powerful. If the way God works is by affecting people's hearts to a goal, how much money do you think it actually cost God just in man-hours to build that cathedral? A lot. An incalculable infinitude. Enough to collapse entire modern nation states today. The Crusades and the expansion into North America paid for those cathedrals. And so just the cost in human lives is incalculable. So does God need money? God needs all the money in the world. A deuce, deuce and a half. Heard that, Matthew. That's an old joke, right? I'm not coming at you. That's an old meme, right? From when I was a kid, right? Am I getting that wrong? Slow down, zombies. Slow down. You're asking a big ask, and I'd like to give you the seriousness to try to answer the question you actually want to know. I'm going to read it out loud, not because I'm making fun of you, but because I don't understand what you're asking me from the words you used. Yeah, tree fitty. That's a joke that's a meme from when I was little. That I never saw the source. I've never seen the source. I've just seen that repeated a million times, and it's funny. It makes me laugh. So it was appropriately used. Zombie asks, do you think there's even a possibility that you might have tried taking things to a point where there's only really a few kinds of opportunities where you never really find anything? No. I find everything I'm looking for, zombies. I just have a different, that reads young, that reads adolescent, so younger than 25. If you're older than 25, it reads your diction is that of an adolescent. Not an insult. my my context for human time and human seeking isn't in days or weeks or months or years. It's in lifetimes. So no. Well, his question was poorly asked. Just stop. Don't make fun. Yeah, it's a difficult question to ask, Rob, and he has a character limit. And then because he's because he's trolling, that's why. Just stop. Just stop. Leave it alone. It's poorly written, and that's the joke. Just leave it alone. They've attempted to make a fool of me, but I find what I'm looking for, and I got it quick. All you got to do is tell a troll you're taking them seriously, and they immediately unmask. Just leave him be. The child with a keyboard. We were all children with keyboards once. Just ignore it and it'll go away. Eastern Christian spirituality? I don't think much about it. What do you want to know, Magnus? Yes, Rob. It's a troll job, so just leave it alone. Just ignore it. And then the attempt at an insult, just ignore it. Leave it alone. A child with a keyboard. We only empower them by reacting to them negatively. Okay, well, that's not the Eastern. Um, that's not the Eastern, Magnus. The Eastern Orthodox Church isn't that. What do I think about? I don't know, the first few centuries of Christianity. No, I don't have a college degree. Plenty of bridges. Agreed. Well, trolls go all the way back at least to the Vikings. I don't know what that means, J Rock. Trolling is a kind of fishing method. It's a kind of bait fishing, or net fishing, rather. No, I'm using you as a teaching moment, zombie. Heard that, Rob. But yeah, the crank or prank call is old. Yeah, it's all good. I'm still not sure what you're asking me about early monastic Christianity. No, I mean, I could leave you alone very easily, zombies. Here, I'll prove it. Actually, I'll just move on since you want to continue and then tell me to stop continuing. Bye. Anyway, I'm not sure what the timeline. This is like, I don't know if guys have ever watched an interview, but typically in an interview, what'll happen is the interview will establish what the interviewer knows about what they're about to ask, and then ask a question. So I don't know what you know about what you're calling Eastern Christianity, because Eastern Orthodoxy is not what you're describing. And that's what I think anybody else would mean by Eastern Christianity. Thank you, Jeff. Oh, I know that, Brittany. The question is whether God loves you. I don't know what that means, Brains. Oh, it's the same crowd as always, Matthew. That's why these people like Daniel who are like, I just want to make a connection with you. It's like, well, why do I want to make a connection with you? You're just like all these other people. You're not different. Not you, Matthew. You're exceptional. People like that. When trolls attack on Fox next summer. That's what they say, Brittany. But for the record, not everyone not in the chat. Just me and Brittany and the 13 of you. Those are the only people in the world God loves. Just be mindful of that when you're not in my lives or in my Discord chat. That if you're not doing it, Brittany just said it. Brittany said it. God doesn't love you. Brittany just said it. You have to be here. Be here, be queer, man. Hey, Brittany said it. And we all know that God hates queers. So be here, be queer. Brittany said it. It wasn't me. Tell your friends. The only boat to heaven is this one. But Brittany said it, not me. Yeah, for sure, Matthew. There are a lot of people there were a lot of people who misunderstood exactly what Jesus meant by sharing the good word. There you go, Brittany. Merry Christmas, everyone. Brittany. No, I'm not making fun of you anymore. Hi, Jack. What do you mean I'm humbled, Gina? Usually being humbled means to fall from a great height. Okay, Selena. Grounded. Yeah, I'm stoned. But I'm also I'm comfortable. I'm enjoying myself. For sure, Matthew. I don't know about remembering their names, but for sure it's nice to learn. For sure, Gina. I'm glad you're here. I hope your move and your life are resolving themselves in a timely fashion. We'll be here, Gina, when you return, when you're ready. I don't know about that, Brittany, but I'm glad that your heart can be open like that. Yeah, Matthew? I haven't huffed any grass in like maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Or at least anything appropriating grass. Glass, either. For sure, Gina. I believe in you, one way or the other. Doing my best, Gina. I know it upsets the monkeys when I start to throw the shit back. Hmm. Yeah, I am at peace, Gina. Yeah, it's because THC affects your sleep cycle, Matthew, and so your brain is catching up on missed dreams. You can't dream when you're stoned. You can't dream when you're stoned because you don't enter REM sleep properly. Hmm. It's because the THC prevents you from going into REM sleep, so you mechanically cannot dream. Hmm. Because the reality testing portions of your brain, Matthew, are no longer functioning properly. Welcome back, T-Rex. Hello, Alistair. Water is good. Tastes like shit, though. Swear to God, you two need to just get married. I've shipped you in my mind. Hmm? No, Rob, they don't taste like anything. Water doesn't have a smell or a taste. I was just being funny. Just being funny. Maybe, Rob. I don't notice that. Maybe, Rob. Maybe. I've never enjoyed just drinking water. It's boring when there are so many flavorful alternatives. It's not good. It's a bad habit. Just being silly. Yeah, when I have to, when I have to get rid of when I have to get rid of a series of trolls like that, my viewers dip, and then my boredom starts to set in. So here in the next few minutes, I am gonna say goodbye. I've already said my goodbyes to it's like Rob and Eric and T Rex. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. It has been an hour and a half. That's pretty cool of you. I didn't expect to be doing this at all. And then I just don't like water. And then for those of you who are tuning in now, the show is at a convenient length to rewatch, and there was some conversation in there worth mining for personal enlightenment. Yours, that is. Oh man, I can't claim that I always remember these vibes after. I can remember some of them after, but they go into the they go into the Swiss cheese in my brain, and I lose access to them. And I don't feel inclined to rewatch, so I understand it. I don't. Hello, Mohammed. Welcome. Great monitor lizard? Yeah, I have no idea. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you guys, talk at you, to answer your questions. I don't enjoy the. I was just saying goodbye, Momo, but thank you for being here. I don't enjoy the trolls any more than you do, but I view life a little bit differently than you, and obviously they do. I see everything as a teaching moment, and since I have the microphone, figuratively and literally, I take the opportunity to use the things I would prefer not to do as a teaching moment. Because people ask me, why go live? Then you're homeless. Why go live at all? Well, besides the religion of it and besides the documentation of my experience, my personality, my me of this all, my outlook, I do it because I believe very strongly in perseverance through adversity. I believe very strongly in coming out the other side. Not necessarily unscarred, not necessarily better for the experience. Nietzsche's wrong. That which we survive certainly doesn't always make us stronger. But I believe strongly in perseverance through adversity. And people who can't understand that I'm live, I'm monetized, I can be tipped for doing this. None of this is a backhanded way of asking. People don't think that asking me personal questions without fronting the money is lost earnings for me. So, for example, I worked in retail and service for a really long time. For example, somebody comes into I used to work at a pizza joint, right? So people come in and they're asking a lot of questions about the menu, about the cost of everything. And you never see them again, right? Because they're not there trying to spend money, right? They're there trying not to spend money. And so those are people that you don't need to really work hard for to retain, because they're not coming back. And so what I'm not saying because this is what people who work in fast food and even medium speed casual dining um, don't understand. Is just because you don't see them again doesn't mean you'll never see them again, right? So what you do is you present the best first impression possible. And so I say hi to everybody. Like Rob said, well, why open yourself to the possibility of people wanting a connection from you that you're just not cognitively equipped to give them? And the answer is because I don't know who's going to change my life with that super chat button. I don't know who's going to tell their friends that I changed their lives with my worldview. And I don't know who I'm going to encourage to persevere through adversity. Because what I see missing in our culture, hello, Stanley, what I see missing in our culture when I watch these kids, when I watch these adults, people my age and older, really suffering, really struggling at a job that is very easy, jobs that are very easy. What I see is people who cannot persevere through adversity and they don't see themselves as winner coming out the other side of adversity. Just surviving makes you a winner. God can, Brittany, but as we've already addressed in this chat, and you may not have seen it, but as we've already addressed, God does things through human agency. And because God's time scale is so much longer than ours, God is just as disappointed when we fail as we are, because we're in his image. But we're only in his image. The image on a TV screen only has so much effect in the real world. Human agency, human lives, they have significantly more effect in the real world. And so I could wait here for God to change my life, or I can get to work. Did you know, Randy, that in Greek, he doesn't say that exactly the way you're translating it? What he says is, I am a female goddess who is known as the Way. I am the truth, which is Aletheia or Aletheia, which is in the name of my handle, which is also a female goddess. So he says, I am the way, which is not actually a reference to, it wasn't a reference to a female goddess. The way to which he was referencing was the Greek word that they used to refer to Buddhism. So he's saying, I am Buddhism. I am the philosophical highest concept of the being just under God, Aletheia, and I am, uh, I am, uh, in Greek, the name is Zoe, but in Hebrew, the name of that third one is Eve. So he goes, I am Buddhism, I am Aletheia, and I am Eve. And in Greek, that's what he said. He didn't say the things that you said he said. Well, it's not that that did not get lost in time, Rob. What he said is, I am two female goddesses and an Indian symbol. He was channeling those three things. No, Randy, I just said that the way, the Greek word that he used in when he was recorded as saying, I am the way, the truth, and the life, is the Greek euphemism for Buddhism. So what he said right there is, I am channeling Buddhism. I am channeling the highest concept of the being just under God in philosophy, and I am channeling Eve, the mother of all human life, right there. So the way you translated that has significantly less meaning and heresy than what he actually said. What he actually said was very blasphemous for a Jew to say out loud. Sure, the common understanding versus the learned understanding, but even the learned understanding can be very wrong, Rob. It's not that this was lost in translation or over time. It was that this was deliberately obscured because what Jesus says is very blasphemous and a good reason to kill a guy in the first century BCE. for those of you not listening to all the words I'm saying before you type, what he said is, I am channeling right now, speaking through me as my personality, replacing the Jesus that you knew before I started speaking. Speaking to you right now is Buddhism, Aletheia, and Eve. If I said that to you right now, if I said I'm channeling Buddhism, the goddess of truth that is the highest conception of reality in the philosophical worldview, and Eve from Genesis, you would all leave because you don't believe in channeling, and that's something only a crazy person would say. That's what he said right there. Randy, go away. You're the person who's not listening to the things I say. You're just working your thumbs. Inappropriate, leopard. Like you, Matthew? You would leave. You would go, oh, that guy's identifiably insane and gonna get us all killed. But Aletheia, the truth, whom he was channeling, is right there in my handle. Right there. And actually, he didn't say the truth. What he actually said is, I am the remembrance. I am the not forgetting. Sure, Matthew. But not because you were deliberately trying to create a new religion. And not because you were saying things that were deliberately blasphemous in an attempt to get yourself killed so that new religion could actually kick off and take over the whole world. Those aren't the reasons you say the things you're saying. If Jesus was an historical person, he lived in an historical world and said and did and thought and felt things that an historical person would think and feel and do. I mean, Rob, he said, I am 3 female deities. So his trinity is feminine right out of the gate. If you're a first century BCE Jew, that's worth death in its own right. And then the I and the Father are one wasn't what he was killed for. That's kind of like the why was Socrates murdered? Like the I and the Father are one being the reason he was killed isn't it is kind of like saying that Socrates was killed for polluting the minds of the young of Athens, corrupting the minds of the young of Athens. That's not actually what he was convicted of. He was convicted for saying he was the king of Israel. And his argument for why he was the king of Israel is because he was the 3 divine goddesses of the highest trinity of the first century BCE, the way, the truth, and the life. Eve is relegated to the scapegoat of Genesis because before that, Eva or Zoe were the highest order positions that women had in religion. And before about the 2nd century BCE, women dominated all religious expression, all of it. They did it all. The men who were involved in religion were either eunuchs or high-level political figureheads. Julius Caesar bucked that trend and got himself killed for it. Basically, all of the Roman god, king, emperors did. And so Jesus steps up on the stage and he says, not only am I king of Israel, but I'm the way, the truth, and the life. I am that ancient feminine religion that Romans have been hunting down and persecuting for centuries now. That happened. Um, Look it up. The Punic War was punitive of Carthaginian religion, and their religion was one of women sacrificing their children. They were upset at the women of Carthage. Look at their feud with Cleopatra. It wasn't about her being Egyptian. It was about her being a religious woman and using the mind control of cult to turn men into empty-headed lunatics. It's the same stuff we watch today. It's the same shit we watch today. Like people say that about Bill Clinton, that he's just mind fucked by Hillary, that she's the real power behind the throne. And we always say that behind any powerful man is an even more powerful woman. This goes back this goes back before written history. And Jesus reached to goddesses for his authority. They didn't know what he was talking about when he talked about the Father. That isn't how they thought of uh, Adonai. Adonai is a king of kings. He's not a father. He's not Abraham's father figure. He's Abraham's God king. He's not Daniel's father figure, not Daniel. David's father figure. He's David's God king. He's not Solomon's father figure. He's Solomon's God king. Jesus innovates God the Father. Maybe even Paul. The Father stuff is first century BCE. That's innovative to the first century, to Jesus's lifetime. I take BCE to include his lifetime, but AD is supposed to mark his birth. So the first century AD that's an innovation of his lifetime. He brought that out. He made that popular because the son was the mother's son, not the father's son. The father wasn't in the household. Zeus didn't raise his sons. The father wasn't in the home. The father wasn't in the home until the 19th century, really until the 21st century. That's a Christian conception because they'd seen what happens when individuals understand themselves to be sons of the God King. They become Sumer, they become Babylon, they become Persia, they become Rome, they become Egypt, they become China, they become Imperial Japan. When you think that the person who's sitting on the throne is the literal son of the God of reality, that person has crazy ideas about the constraints of their power. Well, watch my very first video, Matthew. I talk about the woke worldview. Wokeism is an attempt to take Jewish mysticism and make it a black religion. They're trying to rewrite the first century. What is it that you think is ancient? The woke mind virus is just cult mindfuck. Well, take your time, Rob. I'm not going to make fun of the way you talk. If you have genuine questions, if you have genuine questions and you want genuine answers, the way I would suggest framing your question is, this is what I think I know. This is what I don't understand about it. That I would always frame a question as in two parts. This is my worldview. This is what I understand. This is what I think we can share in common. What do I misunderstand? And then the questions will just start to happen because we have a shared set of Lego blocks to play with. As I start to add Lego blocks or tell you where Lego blocks need to be taken away, we have a shared conceptual 3D or 4-dimensional model even. We have a shared model between our minds. There is an open pathway between us of communication. And it has nothing to do with my emotional state and absolutely nothing to do with either of our backstories. For those of you who've been watching from the beginning. If I know what you're thinking, and I'm thinking about what you're thinking, then if you said, "Hey, are you thinking what I'm thinking?" I could say, "No, but I am thinking about what you're thinking about." And then, if you've read Leviathan, Thomas Hobbes, we've come to something approaching consciousness. We need a third person, but we're approaching consciousness, consensual knowing. No, I don't believe in aliens, but I do believe, um, Craig, I do believe that there is a phenomenon that is happening. There's an underlying shared phenomenon with maybe 5 to 15% of the reported phenomena, but no, aliens are not they're not the cause. Worldview is the way you view the world, Brittany. It's the cognitive framework through which you understand and think about and then report back the world. Yes, Rob. I'm not asking you to believe anything, by the way, Rob. Why don't I believe? Because there's no reason to believe, Craig. I don't believe in anything. Yeah, you're good, bro. I'm encouraging you to continue. I'm with you. Yeah, you might notice that I'm not here to accuse ancient religions of harming us. They might have harmed one another, but we don't get to judge them for that. You didn't ask me anything about that, Craig. You asked me about aliens, and then you jumped to a completely different topic. I gave you a thorough answer of why I don't believe in aliens. If you didn't listen to all of it because you started typing in the middle of it, I'm not going to repeat it. To whom, user? Like, if you were to ask me that question, what do I think is going to happen to me after I die? I think someone's going to throw my body in a pit and people are going to mourn, and then people are going to. If I died tomorrow, rapidly forget I ever lived. But if you're asking me what I'm going to experience after I die, I have a feeling that I'm going to wake up in this experience again. I'm going to wake up right at the moment where I died. An extraterrestrial intelligence that's not necessarily confined to a three-dimensional body as we understand them. ABCD. That's what he means by an alien. He means an extraterrestrial, maybe even an extra-material, conscious, sentient entity. What about reincarnation, Matt? Elaborate on what, user? I didn't say that I don't believe that something like that exists. I said that I don't think that what he thinks as far as those things living on faraway planets and having their own lives in sci-fi universes, no, those don't exist. No, no, I didn't describe reincarnation. I described hell. Um, Reincarnation is starting over from birth. Yes, ABCD. Yes, I do think that there are no, Craig, because you don't understand what a dimension is. We can't really have this conversation, Craig, because you lack the basic understanding of how the material reality works to have this conversation. But I'll continue to have this conversation with ABCD, um, and I will continue to condescend to you, Craig. Um, Maybe user, but that doesn't really mean anything. You can't have a complicated system without three moving parts, so it has to be more complicated than man and God. And we all know it has to be more complicated than man and God because we're having a conversation over the internet, which happens because of material reality. So naturally, it's more complicated than man and God. There's at least material reality moving in that three body problem. There have to be three components in order to have a complicated or complex system. But anyway, yeah. So like, I think that demons are a thing that something that you might describe as a demon. But then when he starts talking about like gray aliens or the Nordic type, no, those aren't a real thing. I think that your syntax and the words that you chose to use at the end of that make the question fall apart, Ergregor. But I do also think that I was broadly talking about that subject earlier, and so if you wanted to scroll back 15 or 20 minutes and find it, you could ask the question in a more cromulent fashion some other time. I believe in hell. I believe I just described what I think hell is, so naturally I believe in hell. I don't think it's possible to believe something you can't define. I don't really believe in anything. Yes, Rob, with sentient life that we would recognize as sentient, yes. We are the highest order living being in material reality, yes. It wasn't that far back, Ergogor. It wasn't 20 minutes back. I know that, but I don't remember where it was. I don't remember how I phrased it or whether that answers your question, but I felt like it did. Probably she doesn't know, but there are lots of them, like 3.5 billion. Maybe it's closer to 5 billion than it was yesterday. I identify as a positivist nihilist, Matthew. Not in the way that you would like, Craig. I mastered Zen meditation in high school. I don't do it often. No, we have plenty of preloaded instructions, ABCD. No one taught you how to latch onto the nipple. Well, you'd have to define real user. Probably with 15 minutes, I could show you that what you think is life isn't real and that you do live an irreality. So, what if you live an irreality? Yeah, that's called being a human. Well, what instructions? Like, give me an example of what you're talking about. ABCD. No, the 3.5 billion number was human females on the planet, Justin. I like that you like my hair. I didn't vote at all, Craig. They turned me away because I'm homeless. Yes, Rob. The first mistake that the spiritually inclined, religious, or mystical person, the first mistake that they all run into is believing that they're God. It's the first mistake we all make. It is illegal to be homeless, actually. Okay, that's not a material example, ABCD. It's a further elaboration on the metaphor, and that's not helpful for me. You don't want help with a metaphor. If you wanted help elaborating a metaphor, you'd be talking to an AI. Do I believe in purpose? I suppose I have to, user. That's among the things. That's a name for some of the things he's talking about, Justin, but not really. He's working out. He's working his way toward a question. He's just trying to think broadly. So just let him think, Justin. especially if you're going to come in the middle. I don't know if you've ever like come in the middle of a movie and tried to explain the beginning, but you're never going to do a good job. Not a material list, just give me an example so I can see what you're working on. Like I said, show me some of your Lego blocks, let me see the thing that you're trying to build, and let me have a model of what you're working on. There is a way of articulating that and interpreting it, Rob, as through the power of demons. I'm not going to make aspersions that these people were wizards, but they had very powerful wizard friends. So yeah, there's a way to articulate it, and then the ancient world did in fact articulate it in those terms. They just called the demons friendly. Choose, Greg? Choose what? Okay, I'm with you, ABC. Okay, no, that's pretty concrete. That's a pretty good place to start. Okay, and so you don't know the instructions in this situation. Okay. So one of the beautiful things about being a human being is that you and your entire species share this remarkable ability to communicate orally and through other mediums as well. But you have this remarkable ability to communicate information orally and retain it. So what I would suggest doing is talking to your parents, talking to your loved ones, and taking the time to listen to your now embattled ex-spouse. I would just take the time to listen to what your life is saying. I wouldn't even bother deconstructing it because who knows if you even remember how to put it back together. That's something that I've learned playing 7 days to die. Who even remembers how I built this fucking thing? Don't worry about deconstruction. Deconstruction is for idiot philosophers in the 19th century, no less. Maybe just try listening. She might be, but listen to what she's saying. That's what I'm saying. Just instead of taking the time to just listen, just listen to what's being said to you. Sure, we all do ABC. And I'm not pushing you away. I'm telling you, take the time to just listen. Listen to what's being said. Because you, as a human being, have the ability to articulate yourself, but you also have the opportunity, the ability to hear what people are saying around you. So if you don't have close friends and relatives, observe other ugly divorces, observe other people. I'm in this situation because of domestic abuse. Observe other people who are surviving domestic abuse and ugly litigation, and then persevere through adversity by listening to what your environment is telling you. Chemtrails? I don't know what there is to disbelieve in chemtrails. You're asking me if I think it's probable that chemtrails are mind control agents? No, I think that's absurd. Because you were given instruction manuals. The problem is that if you're anything like I am, you figured you could figure it out along the way. I'm not in a bad situation. How is this a bad situation? I get to talk to you, ABC. Yeah, just listen. Your environment is going to tell you everything you need because your brain and your body are already, they're not really that different, but your brain and your gut biome are already surrounding you with people because you have to go where the food is, and eventually you're going to want entertainment, and you're here where people are now. So your brain is putting you in opportunities. It's just about you taking the opportunities to hear, to listen. Yeah, Rob. Yeah, that. Yeah, just slow progress. Yes. Uh, I would probably think that I'm having a psychotic episode, Brittany. To be honest. Well, I guess user, you just have to expand your horizons on what the unknown is, because there's plenty of things that we need PhDs uh, searching for as far as the unknown right now. Like one thing that I was working on today that is unknown is how exactly burial practices worked between the fall of Rome and the 1200s AD. Between 900 and 1100, graves are weird. Graves are weird. A lot of them are weirdly empty. A lot of them, they only retained individual body parts of the interred. Why? And now the answer that they give us in the 12th century, I'm sorry, in the 13th century, is that they used a charnel situation where they just waited for the bodies to discorporate and decompose on their own, and they had somebody dig them up and throw them out when they got full. And it's like, there's a reason that nobles didn't undergo that. I don't think everybody underwent that. Well, I don't know about missing mummies, but take care, Brittany. Yeah, it's just called Woke. And it's literally my first video. So if you go to my videos and you organize it by publication date, it's literally the first one I did. It's just called Woke. Where am I reading about it, Rob? Um, I read academic publications all the time. So I was reading about this in Nancy Mandeville Cacciola's Afterlives, which is a history of people who came back to life from the dead. And I've read dozens of books about medieval burials because it's an open-ended question, Rob. This is what this is what actual academic publication is. Like if you read actual scholarship, it's mostly about what we don't know. There's still a lot we don't know. And I was reading about it by writing out what I do know about it and asking questions of Gemini AI this morning. I was researching it to see if anybody had come up with any better hypotheses than what I could. The answer is no. There's no consensus. The hypothesis is a hypothesis. The theory is just a theory. There's no consensus. It's an open debate. I don't know what that means, ABCD. What do you mean this realm? And what do you mean by a massive disconnect between the knowledge that we do have and how it was attained? There's not a huge disconnect. There's a university system that connects you right to the history of how it was attained. That's why you can't talk to an undergrad who doesn't bitch about how the Western worldview, the Western scientific milieu was taken from the Arabs in the Crusades. You can't meet an undergrad who doesn't spend a portion of their life pro-Arab simply because they think the West was stolen from Arabia. How do you think it's a severely limited take on knowledge? I didn't say anything about knowledge. You said you said that there is a massive disconnect between the knowledge that we do have and how it was attained. Universities are that connection. They exist to connect you to the infinite past and the present future. I would like to know what you mean by that syntax, what my channel is about. Could you describe any other channel? Because I could not tell you what any other channel is about. Could you tell me what the Disney Channel is about? I couldn't. Well, yeah, you would disagree. You asked a bad question, ABCD. But that's right. But what you said, I said that I don't understand and that what you're saying can't be. I don't have a favorite philosopher unless you mean Socrates. Um, I said that I didn't know what you meant, and that what you said can't be true because there isn't a massive disconnect. What am I talking about right now, Claudia? If you think academics don't matter, then get off the internet. It was invented by academics. In fact, the internet was invented by academics so they could matter more. So if you don't think academics matter, get off the internet. Who figured it out? Time figured it out, ABCD. So, like, I'm reading this book called Kindred. It's about Neanderthals. Time figured it out. Humans have been meaningfully human for 1,000,000 years. No, I know plenty more than what they tell me, Craig. Well, this is the kind of things we talk about, Claudia. If you don't know how to define it, then why are you asking me to define it? Why are you not just participating in a meaningful and engaging way that's not going to get me to yell at you here in just a minute? If that's what you think, Craig, you're just too stupid to continue talking to me. Um, there have been a few cults in the last few years that have gotten in trouble with federal governments. The Vatican doesn't have vaults of forbidden knowledge, Rob. They have vaults of extremely delicate documents that they are taking very deliberate care to make sure survive into the future. Trent sounds like a real winner, Gregor. Welcome back. Okay, ABCD. Nothing hidden at all, Rob. There's nothing to hide. What do you want them to be hiding? What past behavior? It's a library. You guys don't seem to understand that the best way to get famous when you work for a library is to talk about what you read in there. Then why, if you don't believe anything I'm saying, ABCD, why are you asking me questions? Well, a library isn't exactly in plain sight, is it, Rob? What have you read in here? I've read a lot since I've been here. I'm reading the book Kindred right now. It's about Neanderthals. I would say that know the ledge before going over the edge is aphorism, not wisdom. Okay, well, if you want to know whether it's true or not, why if you don't believe it? If you automatically take the false position, why evaluate it at all? I don't have any hobbies, Craig. Denisovans, we don't know much. All we have to date, as far as I know, mega cheese power, to as far as Denisovans, all we have is like a knuckle bone. As far as I know, we don't really know anything about them. We can postulate a lot, but we don't really know anything. Why are you looking for purpose? Don't we make our own? I thought the word of God was God. They were tall. Denisovans were tall. They had my general body plan. Yes, Mega. Because your jangle is dangling. Jangle dangle. Okay. Well, what do you think purpose means? I don't really know what the word means. What do you think it means, ABCD? Sweetheart, Claudia, I couldn't stop you from saying something like what you just said there if I wanted to. Join in. The water is tepid. Sure, but that doesn't answer the question I asked you, ABCD. Like, what do you think the word means? I don't know what the word means. Okay, Orange. Thank you, Claudia. You're talking to a shaman, guys. Just keep doing what you're doing. Every time I say goodbye, 20 people show up, so T Rex, you're in luck. I am going to call it at 4. What does what even mean, Fry? That is like, isn't it like a pronoun that indicates something? Mexican wizard. Why are you asking me? What do they call? I don't remember what they call dudes. And why are you asking me about male bruja? Do I call myself a shaman? A shaman is kind of a joke, Fry. I don't. A witch doctor, a medicine man. I don't think it's brujo. It might be. I don't do magic. Hell yeah, Jose. I'm glad to hear your team won. Is toothpaste a movie, a TV show? I'm unfamiliar with your meme, Claudia. That doesn't mean that I don't love it. She answers questions with questions. Eh, magic is just illusions, Michael. Zootopia? I think of you as thinking of me, Justin. Very nice, Worm. Uh, Mega Cheese, am I interviewing for a job position I didn't know I didn't want? No, there's not a topic I want to discuss, Justin. I've been trying to say goodnight for 2 hours. I'm not asking you guys to leave. I'm just saying, like, I got on like 10 minutes after 1 and said, I don't really feel like doing this. I feel like playing I feel like playing 7 Days to Die. But I want to say hey to my regulars. And so I've said hey to my regulars, and that was about quarter after 1, and it's now quarter after 3. There's nothing I want to talk about. Is it your mom, Stother? Stother? Saint Othar? Salutations, ABCD. Take care. I don't want to go to sleep. I didn't say anything about wanting to go to sleep. Didn't say anything about not being able to sleep either. I was asked if I had any particular topic that I wanted to engage in. No. Why is this still happening to me? Thank you, Orange. Sleep is not a preview of death, no. No sleep till Brooklyn, indeed. Not the way you want, Mega. No, I mastered Zen meditation in high school, so I haven't had the need since high school. What would I want to talk about? I'm not that kind of person, Claudia. I don't know any of you well enough to strike up a conversation. But if you understand that meditate comes from meditare, which means to think deeply, I think deeply right now. I'm meditating right now. I'm not a librarian. I married a librarian once, sort of. She was educated to be a librarian, but I'm not a librarian, not by temperament or profession, or education or training. Well, again, mega cheese, if you understand that meditate comes from the Latin word meditare, and meditare means deep thinking of any kind, then I am meditating. Hey, thank you, Rob. Love you, buddy. I love your use of novel there. Novel, for anybody asking, means new. Take care, Rob. Ancient cattle herders? Or maybe the people who came up with the word meditation don't know Latin very well, Mega. Probably it was the people who used the word wrong. And so, anyway, like I said, to begin with, I don't meditate in the way that you want me to because I mastered Zen meditation in high school. So I haven't had the need for it. I haven't been in a situation so stressful to me since high school that I have felt the need to completely discorporate my mind from my body in order to survive. But if you understand a meditation to be thinking about any subject for any amount of time, like the meditations of any philosopher, you fucking dickhead, I'm meditating right now. Stothar, my parents were extremely abusive. It depends on what you mean by hurt, Claudia. My father broke my left hand because he felt like it one day. He just took it in his and squeezed it until the bone right here snapped. What do you mean by hurt? He used to hold me down so my mother could beat on me. She used to wake me up punching me in the chest and back and head. What do you mean by hurt? Did they hurt my feelings? It stopped hurting my feelings after a while. Did they do permanent damage to me? Of course. That's kind of an insensitive question to ask. Does that make it right, Stother? That was their justification as well while they were beating on me and making sure I had no friends so that nobody knew they were beating on me because they were ashamed of their behavior. It wasn't normal for them. I just described it to you as not normal for them. They knew what they were doing was not okay and not normal, but they also knew they could get away with it. It's not instinctual. Again, if you have to create an environment where other people don't know what you're doing, it's not instinct, it's shame, and shame is a thinking act. Shame is meditative. That's why in any legal case where they're trying to establish intentional wrongdoing, the prosecutors, establish premeditation. So, anyway, to meditate means to think. Do I do what? Hurt people because I know I can get away with it? I'm sure you've watched me hurt people's feelings on this chat, Claudia. I don't have children to beat on, Claudia. I don't remember you, LJ. I've written manifestos, sure, Taco. I don't know if you know what a manifesto is. I don't know that I know what a manifesto is, but I know what it means to manifest. Thank you for being here, Claudia. I don't know why that's relevant, Stother. Do you know what a tulpa is, Ergrigor? You can ask. I don't have to answer. I don't know how it would be relevant. I've never played Roblox before. I'm guessing wrong. Just cause. I don't think that's right, Taco. The Unabomber only died recently, and his manifesto has been published for like 50 years. Hello, Jamie. You're aware of the concept. Every time. I almost said, after I asked you if you knew what a tulpa is, that every time I ask a Freemason if they know what a tulpa is, they say, I'm aware of the concept. Every time. 100% of the time. Too bad the band didn't stick. I'm sure that's not true, Stother. I'm sure your first lie was that you have a friend. It's the matter between the bricks. Uh, that's not called caulk. That's called mortar. What are you talking about, Jamie? That's my favorite color. The mortar between bricks. I'm not going to call you, Claudia. I'm engaged to be married. I only have. Why do I think? You don't want to know the answer to that, Ergogor. The reason I think that's true is because Freemasons are broadly ignorant of everything but Freemasonry. And Freemasonry is a 400-year-old intellectual tradition. So Freemasonry doesn't know it's not 1700. Like, have you ever read, um, oh, I just forgot his name, Manly P. Hall? I am arrogant, evidently, Rob. I don't know. I don't know why she did it either, LJ. But here we are. Died a few years ago. We crossed that bridge a little bit a while ago. Unit. I know. I'm kidding you, Rob. They all get mad at me too. Freemasons all get mad at me always. I don't really like yellows just cause there are a finite number of colors, so you'll get there eventually. But I am going to hold you to a higher level of accuracy than just the primary colors. Like you're not going to get me with guess 7. You understand what I know? Purple's a nice color, but it's not a favorite. Mauve. See, now we're talking no, but mauve is always my guess. So that's my backup favorite. is is blurple like a really dark blackish purple, like a really blue black. Blues are beautiful. Blue is a natural pigment. Boogers. That's it. You nailed it, Tavon. We can move on. Tavon has joined the chat. Welcome back, Tavon. I'm not gonna make it easy on you just because I don't want to talk about my favorite color. It's just a color. Gee, I'm not gonna make it easy on you. I don't have a prize to give out. Oranges are nice. Tavon has joined the party. I appreciate that you feel that, LJ, but your PFP is mostly blue. I wear a lot of browns and grays, LJ. From my outfit, you could easily think that I like gray a lot and brown. I wear a lot of browns and grays. You have a 33rd in your family? Heard that, Ergregor? Heard that. I'm not making fun or condescending or trying to be mean. You asked me a question. I told you weren't going to like my answer, and I tried to be as gentle as I could be. There are good reasons. There's a lot to absorb in Freemasonry, and it was designed that way. Yes, Taco. That's the one, Rob. Not that shade, but that's the one. Heard that, Sora. I don't know that I believe you, but you'll understand. I don't think you particularly wanted me to, and that whether I do or don't doesn't really affect. No, I don't, Masca. Not literal voices. No, they're not really Masons, Tavon. I'm glad you didn't take offense, Herbivore. Should women have the right to vote? I often talk with women who are close to me about whether it makes sense that married women have the right to vote. What's the temperature? I don't know, Kev. Cold, but not as cold as the other night, so probably in the mid 30s. Maybe not even below freezing. I'm not sure anymore. Freemasonry's function today? It's a gentleman's club. It has always functioned in the United States. Well, the function is the function is ancient by our standards, so older than 500 years now, and yeah, it's the idea is that men of different walks of life, different professions, different religious backgrounds, different philosophical and ideological backgrounds can go and all smoke cigars and talk about the things they're not allowed to talk about with their wives, and they get to play ancient cult while they're doing it. And so that's maybe a condescending way to say it, but I'm trying to get through it quickly, speaking to people present who've been through the oaths, and I don't want them to be in a position where they need to defend their way of life. It's a gentleman's club. It's a club for traditional gentlemen, for men of class and taste, to go and have class and be tasteful. It's just that the internal information within the club, I don't think it's a cult, within the club. Fraternity, I prefer club because fraternity has skull and crossbones college stuff on it now. So I prefer club. Um, it's really not different than being a part of a soccer club or a part of a football team. Their goals are the betterment of human society, so I have nothing bad to say about them. Hello, Joshua. They just believe wacky old shit. And so for my purposes, they're not something I think about frequently. I just noticed that that thing happened, and I'm not trying to bury that guy by repeating it. It was just a moment that I had with him, and it was just a curious moment of data collection. Oh, well, that's because in the Civil War they were accused of it credibly, but it wasn't true in the Civil War either, Rob. It's just that's just what powerless and bored people do. They look at people who are out in the world doing good things and they just cast baseless aspersions on them. Kind of like I'm doing. Kind of like it seems like I'm doing. I could totally understand how that perspective comes out. But I would accept initiation. I wouldn't pursue a 30-second whatever degree. I wouldn't pursue the degrees. It's kind of silly. It's like Jim Mars doesn't think we landed on the moon. Well, Jim Mars is an idiot, but he had access to a publisher, so here we are. It's not something I would pursue because my personality and my temperament aren't inclined toward the, yes, it's cold, Jamie, aren't inclined toward those things. But it would be an honor to be invited. Absolutely. Isn't it a confraternity anyway? Totally, Sora. But again, I don't believe you, so just work with me here. Don't say things that I have to agree with because they're so vague. Yeah, that's why I don't call it a fraternity because I think it's actually a confraternity, and I don't know what that means. I don't know the difference. So I choose club, like a gentleman's club, and they do a lot of um, not just philanthropy but public works. Like so, a bunch of the like instruments at the church I was attending last year were provided by Freemasons. It's a bullying club. No, 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 no. Historically, every time Freemasons have been accused of trying to overthrow governments, those were totally fake news. Every time, 100% of the time. I've never met somebody who wore the what's it called? Help me out. The rule, and is it the slide and rule or whatever? The slide rule and angle. Is that what it's called? Anyway, it's not a slide rule anyway. It's a compass. The angle and compass. I've never seen anybody wearing a Freemason ring, and I used to serve. I used to serve tables, and I would look to see if they wore the Freemason ring. I just looked at people's rings, class rings, whatever, to see if I could recognize where they were from, and to just calculate data so I could do this if needed. I've never met anybody who identified as a Freemason in public who also wasn't a stand-up person in public. What they do behind closed doors is theirs to do behind closed doors because it doesn't come out, right? We can't just assume people are bad people because they've never been accused of anything in public. That's just a really bad way to live life. That's not skeptical, that's just mean spirited. Albert Pike. I'm sure I have read Albert Pike at some point. The name doesn't. Maybe Sora, but again, I said that it's been infected by specifically cults and secret societies like the Skull and Bones that do questionable things in public, fraternities. So if they're, I don't think they're actually a fraternity. They might call themselves a fraternity of brothers or whatever, but I don't think that definitionally, categorically, they're a fraternity. So I prefer club to not get my language mixed up for people who don't believe they're a member of the club. Um, I use the term gentleman's club because it's more precise in the language and it's more antique. It's what they call themselves. Talk about cheeseburgers? What do you want to know? What do you want me to talk about cheeseburgers? Hey Johnny, what's up? I don't really look like Captain Jack if you're saying that it's me. But if you're saying that you're Captain Jack, I thought you were my boy Dom, not Captain Jack. It's a weird way to introduce yourself one way or the other. It's not Halloween either. It's just a weird thing to say as soon as you walk into a room. Like, I wish more people took the time to imagine their introduction to a chat room as their introduction to a room. Because like if like okay, maybe I should just do a sketch. Maybe what I should do is I should just go down and I should just someday, one of these days when I got my laptop open, I should just open all these and then I should do sketches of people entering rooms saying the things you people enter rooms, these chats saying to me. Maybe that would be funny. Maybe that would be like a creative outlet for my rage and frustration. I almost can't sign off now. Yeah, you just have to be famous, Trayvon. Tavon. You're asking like how do you get to be like the public facing Mason who doesn't also have to engage in the weird cult stuff and you just be famous. The right mentor? That's weird. Why would I want to pass for a double of a man much older than I am? Why wouldn't I want to pass for the double of a man much younger than I am and better hung? Heard that, Sarah. Thank you guys for being here, especially now that I'm starting to yawn. What do you mean? Do I watch other people's streams? No, never. I have before. Like, let's see what's out there, but never longer than seconds. It's cold, yes, Johnny. It's not bad, but it's cold. I'm aware of it. It's not as bad as it was. It was in the 20s. It was like 22 the other night, and it was cold. I was aware that it was cold. It was a real bitch to fall asleep that night. Thank you, Tavon. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're also cold, Jay. Don't give me any of this. I got the AC on. It's cold business. For about a minute, Rob. Hey, you're allowed to like what you like, man. Sober and solitude? Never. I'll die first. Yeah, I heard it's cold in LA. I heard that it got down into the 30s. I made fun of somebody and asked them, "Oh, what did it get down into the 60s?" And they're like, "No, man, it's like legitimately freezing out here." That's we've been doing all this talk about global warming, and so the propaganda machine, the fake news machine, or the real enough news machine. Oh, you meant a tulpa? Are you talking about a tulpa? Egregore? A tulpa, I would define it. I would say that a tulpa and an egregore are the same name for the same phenomenon. That's why I asked. You guys already have a word for it, so you don't need a word. And you guys is so broad. But my experience of Freemasons is that they're not interested in other people's systems because theirs works. Again, it's not a negative criticism. If I sound negative, it's because my brain is saying don't join, don't join, don't join. Not because what you're doing is wrong. I feel like I tried to defend, and again, not an accusation. Anyway, the true enough news machine, um, no tupa, tulpa. Uh, I don't think that that works as a cause and effect chain, Rob, because the meme is something that already exists, whereas a tulpa, and if I understand an Ogregol correctly, is something that doesn't exist that enough people think is real and it becomes real, largely because of just enough people having thought about it. Like Bigfoot might have not have ever been a thing, and then enough people thought about it that now people see Bigfoot, and that's not a that's a psychosomatic experience. Um, that's actually what we were talking about with aliens earlier. That there's an underlying phenomenon happening, but what it looks like is relative to the meme of the day, not the other way around. It's not the meme. The meme already existed as a fiction and maybe even an imaginary kind of thing. So like tall gray aliens with great big, no, these are different things, but or aliens with the great big eyes. Those only started being reported as phenomenon after they were in movies. I I leave it open to the possibility that Bigfoot's real, Johnny. Yeah. Um, the the Patterson Gimlin film looks real enough to me, and I've listened to an interview with Patterson, I think, and he was convincing enough, but I don't know. I've never experienced it. Psychosomatic is a fancy way of saying that your brain makes the effect happen. So, for example, a psychosomatic bout of the influenza virus would be if you don't actually have the influenza virus, but you think you have the influenza virus so hard that your body manifests the symptoms thereof. Like a false pregnancy is a psychosomatic pregnancy. Yeah, the regions of the world where Bigfoot is seen are regions of the world where um, supernatural phenomenon have been seen since time immemorial. So, Bigfoot that could walk out of portals, appear only to one person in a group, and then walk into another a portal is something absolutely consistent with medieval folklore. So, I have no reason to believe that the phenomenon isn't consistent across time and space. It makes it real in your, well, it's not in your brain. It's actually your brain making it real in your body. Placebo falls under the placebo effect is a psychosomatic effect. That's correct. Yes. Placebo is the positive version of a psychosomatic effect. Yeah, totally. That's why the placebo effect is considered an effect. Something happened, but there was no material cause outside the brain. The brain just made that happen. By what mechanism? No idea. It's not really magic because there's a material effect, and so there's got to be an underlying mechanism, but we haven't figured out what it is yet. Even if it's just your brain body system organizing or disorganizing your cells and the energy necessary to do that in a remarkably short amount of time, that's an underlying non-magical mechanism. And if it's quantum, that probably counts as magical. If it's non-material, non-local, and quantum, that's probably magical. But we don't know that's what's happening with things like the stigmata, people who believe strongly enough that they're having a religious experience that they begin to bleed from the palms, the hands, the forehead. 4D, yeah, time exists, um, and objects exist in time. So, yes, your brain is working a four-dimensional model of everything at all times. If you've ever remembered anything, you're creating a four-dimensional model of a point in time that you experienced. Yes, four dimensions are real. Yes, Jamie, the human body is amazing. You wish the ring girl had never come after you, Frodo? That's a strange crossover. I'm surprised I've never seen in pop fiction or popular fiction. I said the right thing. Maybe it was in not another horror movie. Kids, indeed. Somebody was telling me earlier that they wanted to discover the unknown. There are plenty of unknown things just about the way the mind works. The only problem for that person is there aren't a lot of riches in the things that are actually not known. Not a lot of money. There's not a lot of feeding you or your sex partner with that information. There's a lot more money in feeding people in the fifth dimension. Um, okay, so dimensions aren't planes of experience. Okay, dimensions are dimensions of measurement. Okay, they're just ways of measuring things. So I don't know what the fifth dimension is as far as what extra dimensional science is measuring material and immaterial reality with. I don't know. But dimensions are nothing but math. That's correct. So you've got length, width, right? Depth, and time are your first four dimensions, right? So if you wanted to measure a basketball being thrown from your hands into a hoop and all of the and then the distortions of the ball when it bounces back to you or whatever, that's measuring the ball in four dimensions. Well, a tesseract is just a cube within a cube. Have you ever tried drawing one, Rob? Yeah, dimensions are only useful to physicists. Extra dimensions. Like the fourth dimension is useful for physicists so they can describe change in an object over time, because time is a measurement. You break it up into units. You can break it up into a smallest unit. Well, a tesseract isn't something you can make in three dimensions. Yeah, you can't make a tesseract in 3 dimensions. A tesseract is it's a cube. It's a cube, and then every face of the cube is a cube inside a cube. Oh, that you have Ergogor in your name is the only reason I thought you were a Freemason. And if you're not, I also anticipated that. Oh, well, that's what I'm asking, Rob. Have you ever tried to draw it? Have you ever sat and looked at visual representations of it? Because Kabbalah, the mystical Kabbalah, is meditating on visualizing tesseracts. They're called hypercubes, actually. I walked you guys the other night. The last time I did one of these, I did a walking meditation on hyperspheres, 4 dimensional spheres. It just takes time and practice, buddy. Yes, the fourth dimension is a place that you can go is not a real thing. Now, if you want to start talking, because what that is New Age tried to blend, New Age trying to blend Eastern and Western philosophies into one unified worldview that doesn't work. Yeah, sure, Rob. Fractal math starts to work into tesseracts or hypercubes. Yeah, because the fourth dimensional part of the cube, the faces don't interact in linear ways. The surfaces and the angles and the they become fractals. I'm not Ergregor. Familiar with Reinstall, Paul? I'm not. It doesn't become like a fractal. It is a fractal. Everything is fractals once you break it down into fourth dimensional math. And I'm not the guy to talk to about it. Actually, I know somebody's dad who's the guy to talk to about it. So maybe someday he'll explain to me in a way that I can make common, plain. Plain's the way I was trying to say. In fact, actually, I bet if we could get Christopher in front of his own microphone, he wants to collaborate, and I love him for that. But I'm not ready for collaboration. I've told him that. I told him in a gentle way too. I'm nice about it. Um, I want to get you guys comfortable in front of microphones before I collaborate with you. I'm not your big brother, and I don't want to hold your hand. I want to put on a good show when we do it, right? And so I bet you Christopher could talk to you about fractals. You can find him in the Discord, I think. You can definitely find him on the chat on my Patreon. He might not be on I think he's on. I think he's on the Discord now. But he's a math guy. He knows this stuff. Um, People ask me like, what are my dreams? What am I trying to do? Who are the people I'm trying to connect to? I'm trying to connect to people that know things that I can't learn, so I can learn them. Because the best way to learn, the most efficient way to learn, is to talk and to listen, to observe and to talk. Yeah, that makes sense to me, Blank. Um, that makes sense to me. One variable changed. Yeah. I don't know what a fifth dimensional shape would look like, but it makes sense to me that it would just be infinite repetition of the same face, the same shape. Do I want. Oh, today? Uh, no, not today, Tyrannus. I'm not going to wield my power like that every time, but thank you. Because you're my friend, Tyrannus. We can give W's for Tyrannus. Take care, Jamie. Thank you. I won't be holding my breath just in case you miss, but take care, Jamie. Be well. No pressure. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Eric. Big W's for the members, and tonight's member du jour is Tyrannosaurus Rex. How about that? There were bigger dinosaurs in that class, but we don't know that the T Rex wasn't just an adolescent version of the Megasaurus or whatever it's called, the Colossosaurus, whatever. Grateful for you, Tyrannosaurus. And I know you weren't asking for a shout out. You were looking to give goodwill to somebody else. That's what I heard last, Tyrannosaurus. I could be wrong. I don't keep up on my paleontology news, and thank you, Blank. I don't keep up on paleontology, but the last I heard, they found a huge, huge T Rex, um, or at least a huge fossil in that general body plan, and they named it something, right? Colossal Rex or whatever, Colossosaurus or something like that. Huge. And then they got to talking like, well, maybe the T Rex is just like an earlier life stage because the body plan's so similar. And they thought that about another dinosaur. And then it turned out that they think now, I don't know paleontology. If you know dinosaurs better than I do, please jump in and take over. But they thought this one other dinosaur, these two dinosaurs were different species, similar body plans. And it like I think it might be like the Triceratops or something, like one of those. I've been reading about Neanderthal. I don't know that I ever deviate from the topics that I always find interesting. Blank. But it was like the Triceratops or something where like they thought, oh no, they could like there are different species and they go up to 5 points, and it turns out that the different points that they were finding were just different stages in the life of that one species. I don't remember the specifics, but I know they were talking about that for T Rex. That what we think of as the T Rex might have actually been a younger life stage. And so like um I've been reading about Neanderthals. I just finished reading another book about um Europe, just a meta history of Europe from 6000 BC up. I finished another book recently about the life in Sumer. I was talking yesterday to somebody, probably Rachie, about King Arthur. Um, I've talked astrophysics, and I don't know if I'm ever. I think it was one of the Triceratops. The hardest I dig into my brain for when did you hear this, I think it was a species of Triceratops, or like that class, that look. I don't know my dinosaurs. Not like I'm intimidated by you people who know dinosaurs because I used to give a shit when I was a kid and then I fell off and you motherfuckers didn't. I was told that that was something only kids cared about. Um, I'm trying to remember what my most recent question that I just had to answer before I could begin my day was. And then today I was thinking about medieval burials. There's a whole mystery there. There's a whole mystery, and there's a lifetime of scholarship to be done in it. I really can't remember. Oh, there's a I think it's called the Great Nonconformity. There's a period in Earth's geological history that was erased by Earth's geological history. It's very fascinating. Hey, Rachie, I was just talking about you. Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. But then, I actually, now that I think about it, the nonconformity was months ago. What was I thinking about? something to do with the formation of life. Um, I think I was trying to understand something fiddly about the Cambrian explosion. Yeah, I was trying to understand the geological process because the planet was under like a mile thick. The oceans were under like a mile thick sheet of ice, and so I was trying to understand something that when people make a irreducible complexity argument and they start talking about can't replicate the formation of life in a lab. Um, One of the reasons that the early experiments to replicate the bonding of those amino acids in a lab is because they didn't have the right conditions. They didn't know the geological condition of the planet at the time. And so one of the reasons that life was able to come into being in the way that it did is because the water on the planet, the liquid water on the planet was under an impossibly thick sheet of ice during ice ball Earth, is what I think they call it. And let's see if I can. This is the most recent topic of interest that I dove into. Just absolutely blew my mind. Um, but the water under the ice sheets was like really hot, but it was also it didn't have a lot of oxygen in it. So water can be oxygenated or not oxygenated. And one of the ways that you oxygenate water is you agitate the surface, and because the surface of the water was so far removed from the atmospheric uh, oxygen, there wasn't any. First of all, there was almost no atmospheric oxygen. There was just almost no oxygen on the planet. Um, but the chemical processes that made life also made oxygen in some way that I don't think I understand or that I'm saying right. But um, the process was under a huge amount of pressure and very hot in a way that couldn't have happened if the planet weren't under ice. And so Saturn's moon, Enceladus, I think, is also an ice ball with active volcanoes. And so it's hot under all that ice. And so there's probably early biology um, on that moon. Spinosaurus would fuck you up. Yeah, for sure. Megalodons. I'm not sure we ever really get to know how it all works, Gina. It wouldn't be animals, Rachie. It would just be like protobacteria. One of the moons of like Jupiter or Saturn. So far away, it can't hurt you. I promise. But it might have. It's an ice ball. It's liquid water, and so it's got liquid water closer to its core than its surface, and so it might have the conditions necessary for bonded amino acids. Yeah, pressure and heat, and um, it was also the chemicals. The necessary materials were available, and it's a miracle. It still boggles the mind. Yes, Ergogor. Yeah, thermal vents with the hydrocarbons and hydrogen and other gases under the ice made the water very chemically reactive in a highly specific way that I am not trying to act like I fully understand. I'm only talking about this at all, because somebody asked me what my most recent topic of interest was. And so if I misunderstand this all completely, it's because I'm just trying to learn from what I remember of engaging with that briefly a while ago. Um, I tried to front load by saying that I don't know that I ever engage, if my interests ever change much, like if I ever deeply engage with totally new information. I'm usually chasing the same rabbit down the same hole. I'm just getting closer and closer to his den every time. Alligators and crocodiles? Yeah, for sure, man. They're basically dinosaurs. An old, 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 and very successful body plan. Holla trippin'. And birds? Birds are the direct descendants of dinosaurs. The dinosaurs that survived the purge became birds. Flighted and flightless. I think my understanding is that today's living reptiles weren't dinosaurs. Does somebody know that better than I do? I was watching Clint's Reptiles for a while, and he kept saying things and just saying them without reinforcing the why like that. And so I know I missed a lot of it. Thank you, Rob. That makes sense if they would blank. There's been a theory for a while. You may have heard of panspermia. There's been a theory for a while that an event that led to the end of Mars included an extra Mars impact that ejected the basic compounds that led to life on our planet onto our planet. If it landed in the oceans, um, what could have survived in uh, space and interstellar travel would have maybe been able to survive in the water. There's a theory. So if they found evidence of early organics, not Pangea, panspermia, but yeah, Pangea is spelled AEA, I think, Pangaea. I don't know what that means, J Rock. Um, but no, I hadn't heard that they found a rock that might. People make weird claims about or wild claims about Mars all the time. So no, I did see that for some reason there's a forbidden zone that NASA has been talking about in the news. Their chaos magic, yeah, for sure. I don't know what that means. If any of them wanted to explain it to me, I'm open to listen. But I know that all the adults I know with children who hear that in their homes, uh, they roll their eyes that it's just a lunatic thing kids say that doesn't really mean anything. I guess it kind of means either or like mid, or like or it's like a multi-purpose. I don't know what it means. I don't know where it comes from, and whatever. My exposure to it is limited, and I'm unimpressed. Our idiom keeps getting dumber. Just as a rule, we just keep getting dumber in the things we say. Yeah, kids today have a habit of staring and letting you know they're staring. Okay, Rob. All right, now this time that I'm saying goodbye, it has to stick because I promised to be available for a phone call this morning. So I got 4 minutes, and then I do want to be off of here. Yeah, Gina was in the chat. Yeah, Rob, you can put it in my comments too, buddy. Put it in the comments, or you could share it on the jerks links on Discord. You can share it with the Discord family. Love you too, Eric. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I didn't expect to do a full show, 3 hours. I keep saying this, but I like to say it to front load my gratitude. I didn't expect to do a full show. I expected to sit down here, get rapidly bored and frustrated, play 7 days until Rachel woke up, tell her good morning, and then go to bed. It has been real, and it's been fun. It's been real fun. Thank you. Be well, Rob. Um, yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate that. I like to. I try to be emotionally prepared for the best, but I tend to emotionally expect the idiots are taking over. Yes, I tend to emotionally expect the worst, and so I tend to prepare for the worst. Yeah, you too, Tyrannus. Have a great morning. Did I, Savannah? I'm glad to hear that. Unless you didn't want to fall asleep. To which, Kate, I might. Sorry, I guess. I appreciate that, Black. Thank you for engaging and thank you for stimulating the conversation in a positive kind of way. Hey, Bob. It's not about how smart we are. It's about the effort that we give in being a fun hang, and you're always a fun hang, Bob. Take care, Ergogor. It's great to get to tell you guys good night too. I'm glad that the best part of this for me is all of the genuine goodbyes. Being able to invite you into my home and then also tell you goodbye when you leave. I'm glad it was good for you, Savannah. It was good for me too. Thank you, Bob. Take care, buddy. I think I kept my Bob and my Rob from getting mixed up in my head. I think that I didn't mistake them for one another once. Hello again, Savannah. I am saying my goodbyes, but thank you for dropping in to tell me you had a good time the other night and that I helped you sleep. That makes me feel really good about my work. I'm trying to be just boring enough that you can fall asleep, but just engaging enough that you are tired when you fall asleep. So your brain isn't overactive. So your dreams are calmer. Rob is the smart one. I had a feeling you were going to say that, Bob. I set you up and you did not disappoint me. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me the laugh that I was looking for. I appreciate that. I set you up and you knocked it out of the park, my friend. Ah, that made me happy. Thank you, Rachie. I think I said that the way I wanted to. Trying to be just engaging enough that your brain gets tired from listening to me, that you're putting in that last little bench press right before sleep, but boring enough that you can actually drift off. I don't know about amazing, but I appreciate that, Bob. I do. uh, it means a lot when you guys. This is my farewell. It means a lot when you guys participate. Like when I lob easy pitches at you, or just any amount of participation. Like if people were asking me questions, we were starting to get into the magic conversation tonight. And if magic has a cause, if it has an effect, if magic works, it's only when you have people participating. And so, you are the real magic. Don't forget that. But you aren't God. Don't forget that either. Have a good day, nerds.